Hello my lovely friends, and welcome to a very special video where I am returning to my OCs and essentially just making them better. First of all, I must preface, I have my retainers in, so I apologize for the lisps and the mouth noises that you might be hearing. So I've made quite a few OCs in my time over the years growing up in drawing, but I chose my favorite 4 and I'm very excited to get into it with you all. So without further ado, let's go! First of all, I have my OC, Lucy Jones. Very basic name, but I loved it regardless. She came around 2016, and this was when I was super into Gravity Falls and Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and I'm sure you can see that in the style that I tried to achieve in the way that I did the first few sketches and the first few doodles of her. So when I went back to actually redraw her, I went ahead and kept the main color scheme, and I really wanted, I love the big hair on her. I'm not entirely sure why I did that, but I think you'll see that it's a common theme that I love big, bright hair. It was also quite a weird choice on my part because I don't quite remember why I gave her bright pinkish purple hair, but I thought it was just one of those quirky cartoon things. I actually made her in the hopes of doing some sort of storyline with her, whether it be in comic form or just completely written out with illustrations, but unfortunately that never came to fruition. But I still love her nonetheless, and I really love how this one turned out. But yeah. Next we have Marvin Lettuce, who are probably one of my favorites. They came around circa 2017 via a prompt that my cousin gave me. So as you can see here, there's a lot of comics that I made of them, and I had the full intention of making them into a full-fledged comic series. Unfortunately, I never really got around to it because I couldn't really build the world the way that I wanted to. As you can see here, I didn't actually have a sketch of her. I used my original drawing of one of my OCs that I will be talking about next, because I didn't like the way that I initially positioned her when I did the initial sketch, but here I really liked how it came out, considering that this wasn't at all how I imagined it. So doing everything digitally was just very nice, and yeah, I just really love how this one turned out because she's just such a fun character to draw, and she's just a little witch trying to get around in the world with her funky little demon cat. So yeah. Up next we have Vi and Kaz, who are probably my second most recent OCs. Again, they were a set of characters made with a specific intent to make a comic series, some sort of narrative around them. I really wanted to work on story building, so I made a bunch of comics with them in it. And I came up with the idea on a plane ride to the Philippines, and during my stay in the Philippines, I just kept making these comics in this sketchbook. They're probably my favorite OC pair that I've made so far, ever, just because it's so much of that D&D type beat. It's a very familiar thing. If you watch any Disney cartoons, it sounds like essentially just some sort of cookie cutter fantasy Disney cartoon show. I mean, Kaz literally has some sort of resemblance to a certain blue elf from a Disney Pixar movie, and Vi has that kind of human vibe of maybe a Luce from the Owl House, except she's, I guess, a little more hardcore. Fun fact, I actually made Violet some sort of cooler version of me at this time because she was sort of a self-insert character for me, I'm not gonna lie, but I had so much fun just making her character. You might remember seeing her in my sketchbook tour, because I did a little redesign of her. Very slight though, nothing too big. I just got rid of the big sideburns, but yeah, she's just a sword-wielding human in a completely different planet, and she's cool. That's essentially the premise. So yeah, that pretty much does it for these OCs for this revamp, and I'm actually so happy with how these guys turned out. I love just the way that they look so much cleaner, and so they just look newer. I don't know. I guess you can really see the progress that I made with them. So those are my OCs. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. This was such a blast, and I love these guys to bits, even though I may never ever return to them ever again. What? Thanks for watching, subscribe!